Hello everyone, good evening. Today is October 18th. Welcome to another episode of Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right guys, what a crazy day. Crazy day. Was not the best day for SPY and QQQ. There was a lot of chop. We'll talk about how we manage the chop, what was happening, why we call it a chop. And we'll talk about Nvidia, the dip buying, the C minus setup, how we tried to bounce Nvidia knowing very well that's a bearish trend and that did not work. And that was the loss in the morning, couple of tries. And then we'll talk about guys huge wins on MS short, kicking the earning season with a nice trade this morning. Then we'll talk about Roku short, that those two were the huge trades, and United Airlines short, that was also an earning play which paid up really well for the whole community. We'll talk about some small longs this morning on SPR, Procter and Gamble, PG, we longed it. Then we'll talk about my Tesla warnings. I've been warning, do not buy Tesla since morning. I'll show you my screen timestamped comments on why I was saying do not buy Tesla. And also we'll talk about Nvidia. Once we stopped buying it, what was I saying to stay away. Today was a great day to learn to preserve. If you either you're playing the earning plays, or you're sitting on hands avoiding the market names, and even though SPY and QQQ kind of faded, but there was no clear trend. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about when we discuss the choppiness. We'll go through all the trades today, and then we'll see what is next. Netflix went crazy on the earnings, just how I teach how the earnings work, how I know it's a good earning or bad earning. I discuss in that in my webinars, and that's on my community if you want to watch that. And then we'll talk about why Tesla kind of faded, and it's still fading. It's at 4:30 I think, right now. So 2:30, yeah. So it's 2:30, so it's crazy. So crazy move. So tomorrow will be fun as well. But anyways guys, let's kick off our recap and then we'll talk about the market and other stuff. All right guys, as always, was up early, 45 minutes before the market opened. We did a wake up summary. You see here what we call as a wake up summary. We talk about what's happening in the market, what's happening in the geopolitical environment, the macro environment, what's happening in the Asian markets, China, all that. We do a wake up summary every morning to get ready for the morning. And then we look at some pre-market movers. We go through the first list of pre-market movers. Then we go to the second list of pre-market movers, United Airlines, Nvidia, Morgan Stanley, and all that. Then I go through more news, trying to make my watch list ready. And then guys, our watch list were ready. You can see here UAL, Nvidia, Morgan Stanley, PG, GS, SPR, FND, and then market plays and market indicators that we use every day to understand how can we play the market. Out of the news plays, guys, played UAL today, played Nvidia, played Morgan Stanley, played PG, did not touch GS, scalped some SPR, missed FND. We'll talk about that, missed trade, gap fill trade, and we didn't touch these biotechs. And we'll go through all those plays, guys. Yeah. And what was the plan today? And here is the levels, guys. Every morning I give those levels. Today again I gave those levels, even though market was choppy. But the levels. So we talked about about the choppiness, but still we had our levels. These are the levels. You want to take a screenshot and review how they worked. Main point to note is about the VIX levels, guys. Today the plan was if VIX stays over 1850, we will be in bearish buys. We will be in bearish buys, and that's what happened. We were all day in the bearish mode by the plan. We'll talk about that. And so here's the plan, guys. VIX plan for the day, bearish on the market over 1850 and 1860. 18 was another pivot that I talked about. If this fails, we are bullish. If it holds, we are bearish. We follow our EMA Cloud rules. We watch 10-year yields and US dollar. By the way, guys, 10-year yields are the reason for the market sell-off today, right? So these are the market indicators you always need to watch: 10-year yields, US dollars, and we watch VIX as well. So our plan was trade UAL, which was bearish to neutral versus the pre-market lows. We were watching Morgan Stanley was a bearish bias as you see here, and then we were SPR was a bullish bias. And let's go by one. Let's start with our MS play. Okay, let's look at MS. What was my comments today? All right, let's look at MS. So guys, MS earnings, bearish trend under the EMA clouds, breaking the pre-market lows. Daily was bearish, as I talk about in my webinars, the setups. Everybody who was in my webinar nailed this today. They knew the setup. That's an A short, you know. I mean, it was kind of A plus as well, but you see daily was bearish, breaking down a big support on daily and hourly. So what did I say? Bearish bias versus the pops. Short, MS is a short, watch pops, do not chase, right? Then first target 75, hold the puts, cover some in 75. Short was working nicely first 1 hour. Next target was 74.50. Then the 75 puts went 130%. Then I locked most and left 1/4. And then finally, you can see the time I covered here, almost close to the bottom. I closed my puts. It was 11:53. So you can see nail the bottom all the way from open, you know, on that short. You know, we nailed it from 76 area to all the way to 73 area. So very nice trade, guys. The risk was high of the first candle, or this was your risk on the bounces. The support becomes resistance. So when you short anywhere here, that is your risk. So you keep sizes small unless it fades and you're in money, then you can add more into your position. You ride as long as 512 EMAs rides. And this is my live comments. As you can see, beautiful trade on Morgan Stanley today. All right, guys, next trade. What was that? It was Roku. So Roku, as soon as market started, you know, it was on my, you know, watch list pre-market, but I forgot about it, and then suddenly I saw that it's going down. Why was it heavy? It had a downgrade by Citibank, I think, and then it was a short. I said heavy, and as I gave the risk of 67, you know, do not chase, you know, use 67 as your risk. And here you, as you guys can see, right at open, big fade, and I was on it in first 5 minutes, and I mentioned that it's still short, even after 10 minutes, still short, very heavy. And when market is heavy, the shorts become an A plus setup, right? Market is heavy, and you can see how it broke a daily level. You can clearly see a daily level gave up. There was like a nice range breakdown on Roku, you know, and then we hold it. I said hold it, it goes lower, and then as it break this second level, right? So I was said it's going sideways, ideal to close if doesn't make a new low of day, and it did make a new low of day, never reclaimed our 10 EMA clouds, and then went boom, you know, and then it hit 62.74, and that's where we got out, right? So we started shorting right up here from close to 66, and we covered all the way to 62, another like almost $3 short. I didn't trade puts. I'm sure they went almost 70-80%, but this was another successful trade, guys. Roku. All right, let's look at our next trade, UAL short, another earning play. That was another. What was my comments on UAL? So I said bearish to neutral versus the pre-market lows, okay? But as soon as I saw it rejecting, pushing towards the resistance and rejecting, when I see this candle, I know it's a short, it's a bearish. And then I gave this level 37.70. You see this price alert? 37.70. As soon as it gives up, you short it. Your risk is up here over the range, EMA clouds. You short it 37.70. You risk 30-40 cents, and look how much it gave. It almost gave $1 by end of day, and because it's a low range stock, so the options move nicely. So you can see breaks 37, goes lower. 36.50 was my first target, right? And then I got out, you know. I got out because it was kind of holding up, and I was, you know, didn't want to carry too many positions. But if somebody held as per our rules, it never got over 34.50, and then it, you know, broke down. The reason I was closed is because it was getting over 512. And I already had some decent profit, you know, because I logged here, and then I had some piece left here, and then I got out. But guess what? it kept fading all day. So guys, UAL was another nice trade for us. And let's talk about some longs which we did at open. So SPR was a bullish bias at open. um, I saw some strength because it was breaking this pre-market highs. So I took small size. Just I wanted to scalp like $1 or something. So I took a small size right at open at 21.30, and I held it as long as the trend was holding. It did push to like 22, and 70 cents. It was nothing much, and then it started to pull back, and that's when I decided that I don't need, I'm just gonna get out. I just made like 30-40 cents on it, and I was out. Still a profitable trade, but I did not let it go against me because I cut it. So that was another trade, because it was not the best setup. It was a B setup because there was a lot of risk down here. There was not much movement. The market was weak, so you need to change your trades accordingly. So let's look at another trade we did today, Procter and Gamble, PG. So PG, okay guys, what was the plan on PG? Bullish bias versus pullbacks to the EMAs. Versus pullback to the EMAs. EMAs are always my risk, and you see the 10-minute candle. As soon as soon as it opened, Procter and Gamble, I'll show you more on 5 minutes. It's not clear on 10 minutes, right? So it was right out of the gate. I said take the 152.5 calls, and it did push, right? It doesn't look like much, but if you really see, okay, let's look at 2-minute candle, right? So if you see 2-minute candle, and these are the morning trades, these are the 10 a.m. trades, not really a huge winners, but we manage risk well and let them work. So if you see, they pulled back to 149 level, and then it held a bit by 10 a.m. it pushed to 151, right? From 149 to 159, that's a $2 move. And 152.5s, the calls that I was talking about, really went 100% because the stock doesn't move that much, but it still pushed, right? And then I got whatever profit I had, I took it, and I just, I went out, because it was still high from our entry, almost $1 high, and I got out. So just another small trade, nothing much there, small size. I always size small. All right, guys, let's now talk about our loser this morning. This one you really need to listen carefully. So trend for the day was bearish. Trend on Nvidia was bearish, right? Trend on. But why did we try to long it then? Well, we tried to long it based upon this this pre-market level, right? So this pre-market level, and because of the extension, I was looking for a 10 a.m. trade, although I did not take profits, right? So if we talk about Nvidia, let's go back. Let's just show you from the morning what I was saying, and then we'll talk about the full. Okay, let's find it. 1 second, give me a second here. So here you go. So 425 was key, right? Because they were buying this 425. I saw a buyer at 425, which gave me a good risk level to risk it with, right? So I could risk it. So I saw this strength, and then I got in, and it did push to 432, right? So where did we add? So we added right here, 428s, and we were in money. Our calls were in money. Let me show you. So I was long Nvidia. I also said it's a C minus setup. So you need to understand, this is against the trend. This is against the trend. It's low probability. What does a low probability setup means? You risk low. You size, if you take 1,000 shares, if you take 20 contracts, you take 6 contracts, 7 contracts. Just risk low because you are going against the trend. The mistake I did was I did not I should have taken it as a the first push trade because it was rejecting the EMA Clouds, but I held on, and then I gave it another chance, right? Okay, so 425 pushed to 432. You can see that, right? We risked $2 here, and it pushed to 432. Was decent trade at morning. Whoever took profit, you see long working. That's what I said. After 4 minutes, the 436, the long was working. There was enough time to take profit, but then it rejected 3450 cloud, and then VIX bounced. So I knew you know, this, but nevertheless, I gave it another chance. Again, against the system, against our system, against the trend. Because when they were buying this level, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's always chance and that it can recover, get over EMA Clouds, but it never did. 2 times we tried. First time I took a stop, I was out when it broke 425. Then it tried to swipe back again. Then I took entry again. And then finally I was done with it, right? So I said 432, let's see where I said. I said out of that small size. Then I got back in. And let's see what else I said. Yeah, then I said bearish mode, I'm done with it, right? I said that at 10:15 a.m. right here. Right here I said it. And you know, I didn't short it because I didn't find a good setup to short. And once I'm playing something twice, it plays with the emotions, I leave it alone. Even though I could have shorted it and all day trend was, you know, 418 from 420, 426, it could have been good. But option players, options were juiced. The shares, I didn't see enough risk and reward. You can see the candles doing up, down, up, down, up, down. It was not a clean fade. So that was the problem with NVIDIA, right? So that was the problem with NVIDIA. So that's what happened. So anyways, so that was the story of NVIDIA, guys. So understand it. Ideally, stay away from any. I was watching this trend line all day. It did not break out. Ideally, stay away from these C minus setups. It's not worth it, guys. Right? And people in the community saw it. And I have been warning about it. I've been warning. Let me show you my warnings on Tesla, if I can find it. Let's see. Actually, I'll show you this. So look at this. What I have been saying all day. I said, do not try long, we are full bearish. I started to say that at 10:37, right? Do not give back in the chop. I said that 10:46 a.m. Tesla heavy, do not try too long. I have been warning, do not try too long. I still said that in mid of the day, do not try too long. Why? Because system is saying it. All day I was saying, do not buy the dips, do not buy the dips. And I'm proud of the fact that I saved many people who would have lost so much trying to buy the dips, because look at the system. System says it's bearish. Yeah, I personally didn't short it. Yeah, I could have shorted it, you know, but I guess I was busy with other trades and NVIDIA kind of played with my mind. I left it alone, and also options were juiced due to the earnings. But you can clearly see what I was saying all day, guys. So this is about it. Understand the trend. It's not always about to make money. It's always about to save money, guys. It's also about saving and preserving what you have. Do not go against the trend. So you guys can see clearly my warnings, and that helped everyone. So yeah, guys, those were our trades. Those were our learnings from today's trades. Let's look at market chart. Okay, so what was market doing? So market had clearly a level. By the way, now I have on my live stream, I always have bearish or bullish indicator. It will tell what the overall trend is. So everybody knows if they are going against the market or going up with the market. So if you see, guys, clearly we were in this range. We were clearly in this range today, right? We tried to push. We thought it's going to be long, right? You know, there's some call flow came in. You know, even I tried a small long. It pushed, and then trap and fail, right? And then it failed here, bounce, fail, bounce, fail. It was not also clean fade. Then again it bounced over 512 EMAs, then rejected 3450. So I was warning, do not touch it, leave it alone. If you try to trade SPY today, if you were short and stopping out with a small stop, you got chopped. Short, you got chopped. Long, never got over 3450 EMA Clouds, and you got chopped. So that was the story. And end of the day, it broke this trend line, and then it faded few points in power hours. Broke this trend line at QQQ, faded few hours. I talked about this. I even tweeted about this. So that was the market pattern today, guys. You know, so that's why it was good to stay away in this type of market, even though it was a fade, but it was hard to trade intraday, especially if you were trading same day lot of options. They would have killed you. Do not play same day options, especially on this day. So that's what market did today, guys. And what was the reason for market doing this, guys? Let's look at the market now. So let's see. So what are yields doing, guys? Okay, so yields, look at this yield. The breakout on yield is just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. If you look, this was the weekly breakout that I posted. Oh, look at this breakout kind of panned out. So as long as yields go, mortgage rates are going up, the bonds are going down, not good for the markets, right? Maybe it's good for, they will pause the rates seeing yields so high. But US dollar as well was following with it, breaking, pushing higher. It's stuck under this 107.15 level, right? So we'll see what happens. So, and SPY, let's look at SPY. SPY today, guys, another reject of that level, breaking this support that had from few days, right? So let's look at EMA Clouds, what it's doing. So clearly it's trying to break this 12 EMA, rejected 20 50 EMA. So I don't know, I don't feel confident about the market right now. Maybe things can change in a minute, but this is, so far, it's not good. As long as VIX stays over 20, it's a problem. It has to break 18 as well. So we'll see. I mean, we'll keep focus on the short-term trades and until the market changes. But focus on 10-year yield, guys. Once the 10-year yield rejects, you see 10-year yield failing, that's when you try to change your bias, right? So anyways, guys, so this was it. Tomorrow, exciting day, Netflix earnings, Tesla earnings today. Excited. If you haven't watched my earnings webinar, join my community, watch that webinar, come trade with us. We kill it every day. Come for learning, education, and executing. Do not come for alerts. All right, guys, this was the wrap. Thank you so much. I see you guys tomorrow.